Browns beginning their preparations for the Bears on Sunday. It will be cold in Chicago when they face the Chicago Bears, who are off to a great start this season, pushing towards the playoffs. And of course, Shedeur Sanders will make yet another start, Mary Kay. And in this game in particular, it's going to be very important that he continues to protect the football and continues to make sound decisions.
That's right, because those Bears lead the NFL with 18 interceptions. That is a ton of interceptions. The Browns have 10 this season, and they were starting to kind of get a lot. So 18 is a ton. Kevin Byard has 6. Another guy, Wright, has 5. So he's really going to have to be on point this game and make sure that he understands what he's seeing. They're going to try to confuse him. They're going to know how to do that. Ben Johnson is an amazing coach, so they're going to do everything that they can to rattle Shedeur Sanders and make sure that some of those footballs end up in the hands of the Bears.
Yeah, and Ashley, the big thing is, we saw progress in this area on Sunday, kind of living to see another play, getting rid of the football when he has to, making checkdowns when he has to, not making that big mistake. He did that one time on Sunday. It ended up costing the Browns the lead in that situation, and the Bears will be looking for those opportunities on Sunday.
Yeah, they will, especially when Shedeur Sanders is in a situation like on that interception, which was a 2nd and 20 situation. So those 2nd and long situations, I'm sure they're going to try to bait him into some of that. But, he talked about he learned from some of his earlier games about taking sacks, right? So now it's about taking a throw like that. Obviously, one he and the Browns wish he could have back, and learning from it. So we'll see kind of as this rolls along down the stretch of the season, his development in that area.
And of course, down the stretch of the season is important because he is the starter for the next 4 games. Kevin named him the starter on Monday, officially for the rest of the season. And he'll have a new center with him as well. Luke Wypler, one of his hungry dog guys, the backup center, will take over for Ethan Pocic, who's out for the season. Will have surgery on that ruptured Achilles suffered on Sunday. Mary Kay, this is a big test now for Shedeur and for Luke Wypler because Ethan Pocic was carrying a pretty heavy load once Shedeur Sanders came in.
Yeah, Ethan is a great leader of that offensive line. He's been starting on this offensive line for years and years, and this is going to only mark Luke Wypler's 2nd NFL start. His first one was when he was a rookie in 2023. So this is a tall order to go into Chicago, where it's going to be loud if anybody shows up for a game when it's going to be 5 degrees. But it should be pretty loud, and he's going to really, really have to be on point. And we know that those two guys together, they fumbled the snap on the first 2-point conversion on that exchange. So they're going to have to work really, really hard at this week. They should try to put the footballs in some ice over the week and be sure that they're ready for the conditions. Again, it's not only going to be cold, but it's going to be windy. And, Luke is just going to have to step up, put on the big boy pants, and really try to fill Ethan Posic's shoes.
Yeah, and Ashley, of course, this offensive line, we've talked about it so much, is just in transition right now. We don't know if Jack Conklin is going to play on Sunday. We already know they're kind of trying to hold it together at left tackle. They had to go trade for Cam Robinson. Tevin Jenkins is playing guard now. Luke Wypler at center. So this just makes life harder for a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, there's just been so much upheaval, and you consider how much Ethan Pocic was adding for Shedeur Sanders there. And it's tough. And look, I rewatched that 2-point conversion, the botch snap. And of course, Shedeur wouldn't blame anyone for it. No one will talk about the play. I thought the snap looked a little low coming in after rewatching the play, but I don't know. People can rewatch and judge for themselves. So that is going to be imperative that those guys get on the same page like that, because we still know this is a football team that's not scoring a ton of points. You can't afford to turn the football over on a fumbled exchange or a fumbled snap like that.
We did try to talk to Luke Wypler today. He was not available. Now, speaking of those 2-point tries, Mary Kay, I know you asked Kevin Stefanski about this. He has been taking tons of heat for those 2-point tries, and specifically taking Shedeur Sanders off the field for what ended up being the biggest play in the game.
That's right. Not only is he taking plenty of heat and criticism, people are calling for his job. And it's not just people on social media, it's media members, former NFL players. I've seen at least 3, 4, 5 prominent guys calling for Kevin Stefanski to be fired because he took Shedeur Sanders off the field in that situation. That's nuts. That's crazy. I asked him about it today, and he said in the position that he's in, if a play doesn't go right, he's going to take that criticism, and he will always do what he thinks is in the best interests of the team.
And listen, that's life as a head coach in the NFL. Where you've won 6 games in the last 2 years. You've locked up your 4th losing season in 6 years. Ashley, there's going to be a ton of criticism. And then you add in the Shedeur Sanders factor, if I could say it right, the Shedeur Sanders factor, and it just ratchets it up like tenfold.
Yeah, the one thing about Kevin Stefanski, we know he's pretty unflappable. We've seen him deal with quite a bit over his 5 years here. I even think back to my first year on the beat when Odell Beckham Jr. forced his way out. You think of all the negative PR storm the Browns dealt with when they brought in and traded for Deshaun Watson, right? I do think when it comes to Kevin Stefanski and outside criticism, he really does walk the walk in terms of shutting things out and not paying attention.
Okay, well, we will cover everything that happens here this week as the Browns get ready to face Chicago. You can find it all at cleveland.com/Browns.